You are now tuned in to the JMACK Experience Podcast.
Exclusive.
Let's go.
Mathematics in the building, you heard?
Yep. Video dropping Monday. Martin Luther King holiday. Shout out to Martin Luther King tomorrow.
Let's go.
Happy Born Day.
God is great. God is good. No more selling drugs in our hood.
Fire.
Allah is great. Allah is good. Put down them guns like a real man would.
I'm feeling this right here.
I can be locked by the feds. All the things that I did, living my life on the edge. I jumped off the ledge. I know there's bread on my head. I know got me some enemies. I know the devil, he missing me. I know the prison mentally, it was just killing me. Pray for my entity. I'm trying to talk to the youth. I am the proof. You can be cool and be you. You ain't gotta do what I do or do what I did. Ain't nothing cool doing biz. That at 16 he did not live. New said he was a kid.
Damn.
Truth is he lived how he lived. Truth is you get what you give.
Let's go.
Truth is I'm still on the grid. Just pray for the women and kids and hope that everyone lives. If not, it is what it is. But you cannot say that I did not say that there was a cage and there was a grave and you can be in it. So don't be amazed. It could have been me. That's why I pray.
God is great. God is good. No more selling drugs in our hood. Allah is great. Allah is
Yo, that's all y'all gonna get, man. I want to give you a round of applause, my brother, for coming through. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, family. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for being on the show, man. Real talk.
Thank you.
How you feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. You know what I mean? You know, some days are better than others, but my emotional state today is good.
Yeah, I like
Feeling
it.
connected, you know what I mean?
That's a fact.
You're always good energy, you know what
Facts.
I mean? So, you know, that's why I'm here today.
How was the drive out here?
It was peace. I was just kind of reflecting on the fact of like the opportunities that I get and how I need to be grateful for these opportunities and that someone can feel value in my message and what I have to say, because coming from the life that I've had, I wasn't always valued for who I am. I was always valued for what I had. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's a good one. That's a dope message right there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, we're gonna get into the intro shortly, but like, a lot of your messages, I feel like they're heartfelt, and like certain people could relate to them. You know, like, well, especially people that've been through it. You know what I mean? But it's for everybody. I know that.
Yeah.
But like, when you know where you're coming from, especially, you know, if you see your story and stuff like that, and this is amazing. I can't wait to get into all that. But like, you know, that's a real message, what I'm saying. Like, you're not doing this for views. You're not doing this for clout. You're just coming from the heart, which is dope. You know
I mean, I'm just trying to make my recovery and my fatherhood real attractive and sexy.
Facts.
Because I made my drug dealing attractive and sexy, and then other people wanted it. I made my womanizing attractive and sexy. You know what I mean? So the fact that, like, now that I'm in recovery and being a father, I try to make it appealing because then other people will want it. Then I can share the message and inspire someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. Motivated by Mathematics, episode 61.
Go.
We're going to get into the intro real quick, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the JMACK Experience Podcast. This show is for motivational purposes only. However, we will not be politically correct, but our goal is to inspire those who listen and watch the show. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to follow us at the JMACK Experience Podcast and email us if you would like to be a guest on our platform at the JMACK Experience Podcast at gmail.com. Peace.
I want to give you another round of applause, my brother, for coming through. Once again, man, it's an honor to be in your presence.
Thank you, my brother.
For those out there who are not familiar with who you are, what's your name and where are you from?
So motivated by mathematics, mathematics in general.
Right.
I'm originally from Cambridge. Then I lived in Boston for a long time.
Yeah.
Then now I'm resided out in Norwood.
So Cambridge, if I'm correct, y'all got Millie's. Millie's is from out there.
Yeah, Millie's is from the bridge.
That's fine. That's fine. See, these are places that I wasn't really familiar with because I went to see a show one time in Cambridge. Well, it was like around Harvard.
Middle East.
Yeah,
Central Square.
Yeah, and then like years later, fast forward, I start hearing Millie's, and I'm like, oh snap! But he's like, he gets so heated when people say he's from Boston, and he's like, bro, I'm not from Boston, I'm from Cambridge, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. That's
so
dope.
Boston guys, we're educated,
right?
So we got the education. We're dangerous because we got a Brooklyn or a Boston swag, but we got the education, like, you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Sharp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
the knowledge.
So we got a little vocabulary, and dudes can read and
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
They know what's real and what's not.
Exactly.
I like it.
But we still got the street swag too at the same time.
Facts. Now, being from Cambridge, you grew up there most of your life, correct? How was it growing up out there? Like more or less.
It was more, I feel as though growing up in Cambridge was a good experience. I experienced camp. I went to hanging out at the park. It was a lot safer. There was definitely stuff going on, but there wasn't a lot of gunplay. There wasn't a lot of and it depends on where you grew up. Some people grew up in the projects, had a different experience. I grew up in North Cambridge, so it was like there was Walden Square, there was Rindge Towers, there was Jefferson Park, there was Bristol Arms. But overall, I grew up in a neighborhood. And so it wasn't like I grew up under this experience where when I walked out my front door, it was dangerous every day.
And you didn't have like 40 people on the corner selling crack.
I didn't have to say, excuse me. I wasn't stepping over bodies and dirty needles and needle caps and broken crack pipes and all that. Tinfoil everywhere because that's the crack era back then. It was a pretty good experience. I could hang out outside. I could ride my bike and get home safe and all that stuff.
So I'm assuming it was like a community where everybody kind of knew each other, right? And maybe middle class, I want to say?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, lower middle class. Yeah, working class.
Gotcha.
We're right outside of Harvard Square and Harvard University. Right. So most of the people out there, to have a house outside of Harvard Square is a little bit of bread. So working class, I wouldn't say anybody was rich, but definitely working class. Everybody worked. No one had like golf courses in their back of the house. Nobody had
no Lambos in front of the crib.
It wasn't no Lambos and everything like that. It was a working class family. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Now, what trials and tribulations did you face? Like, did you come from maybe a single parent household? Or like, how was it for you, like, growing up as a child, more or less, is what I'm trying to get at.
So my childhood was more on an emotional trauma. Because my mother left my father when I was young. My mother was collegiate. Yeah. My father was from the streets. So my mother's side was very educated, kind of fearful, passive, very loving, very caring, compassionate, unified. My father's side, we're construction workers. We womanize. We have multiple kids by multiple different women. Hard workers, entrepreneurs, but still from the streets, sold drugs and all that type of stuff. Like, big dudes, you know what I'm saying? We ain't no Denzel Washingtons, but we're far from Shabba Ranks. So
that's fact. So fuck around and find out.
Yeah. So we got the gift. A lot of my father's side, dudes got the gift of gab. We can talk and stuff like that. So
smooth.
Yes,
smooth with it.
So my mother left my father. And I can realize now that I've grown up and had an experience with a father that, like, my father was just prioritizing the streets and his boys and women more than me. And I did the same exact thing, tenfold worse than he did. So my mother, that was my mother told me that another gentleman was my father. And then come to find out later on in life he wasn't. And so that was kind of like an experience for me, an emotional experience where I just didn't know what to do with those emotions back then. There wasn't all these different things that you can do now.
How did that make you feel, if you don't mind me asking? And sorry to interrupt, but like, were you upset more about it or like just disappointed?
I was confused because Richard, I called him daddy. And then when I met my father, even to this day, I don't think I've ever called my father daddy.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm speaking about him, I'll say my father. But when I call him, it'll be like Dan Fernandez. Wow. I was kind of robbed of that experience. And, I kind of feel like now that Richard was a good brother and he did his best that he could. But it was also one of those situations where it's like, I'm with your mother, so I'm going to deal with you. But then when him and my mother weren't together anymore.
He kicked you to the curb.
Yeah, not right away, but it's slowly but surely. And there was this movie called Kramer versus Kramer. And it was about a breakup. So there was a lot of emotions around that. And I'm an only child, so I suffer from
Me too. I think that's why we connect.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
so
bro.
I'm a mama's boy. But my mother was my first hostage. My whole life, until I got into recovery, now I got family. But the most of my life, I had hostages because I'm so self-centered, so self-absorbed, and it's all about me.
Well, people could call us selfish, you know what I mean, in a way too. Yeah. Like, they're like, oh, if it's not your way, it's the highway, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, what can you expect? When you're the only child, you don't got no siblings, you're not used to sharing really with people. It's all, like you just said, it's all about you. Now, I noticed you said the last name of your father is Fernandez. Are you Spanish?
Cape Verdean.
Oh,
So,
snap.
Yeah, so my mother's side, I'm black. And then on my father's side, I'm Cape Verdean.
Nice. And not for nothing, I've said this a few times on my podcast. Before I moved out to New England, I'm originally from Queens, New York. I didn't even know what Cape Verdeans were. You know what I mean? And I noticed, there's a lot of Cape Verdeans out here. You know what I mean?
So it's like a little islands on the west coast of Africa.
Got you.
But that was colonized by Portugal.
Nice.
So it's kind of like we're from the coast of Africa, but we speak with like a Portuguese dialect.
Got you. But it's Creole, correct?
Yeah, it's Creole, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how to speak it. You know
Okay. Yeah. You know, we want to educate the people that are watching, so just to give them a little brief, especially my people in the city, because a lot of people to be tapped in.
Yeah.
So, I know, we got more Jamaicans more than anything in New York. Jamaicans, Trinidadians, you know what I mean? And even out here, how we got Guatemalans, in New York, we got a lot of Mexicans. You know, so that's pretty much like the difference. All right, so you found that out, like, more or less, when you found out, you said that your stepfather, I want to say, the one that was taking care of you, holding you down, more or less, Richard, they ended up splitting. How did that affect you? Did you start lashing out? Did you start, like, maybe getting into trouble? Or, like, did it start from that?
So what happened was when the split came, see, Richard was home a lot. My mother was the one that was making the money and providing the home and providing the space. And I come from like a family. My grandmother lived upstairs. My cousins lived across the street. My aunt, my two uncles, Uncle Ray lived across the street. So kind of what happened was when my mother broke up with Richard, there was nobody home.
You had a lot of free time.
Yeah, so now I got a lot of free time. And so, curiosity kills the cat. So I started getting into this. And that's when like NWA first came out. The DOC first came out. And all that stuff. All that first came out. So, I started to become curious. And then it like...
Rebellious too.
Yeah. And then at 13 years old is when a friend of mine came over me. Rest in peace, my man Jeffrey came through.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, and he came through. We tried marijuana for the first time, and it's been on and popping ever since.
It's always like that, right? So that's actually one of my questions further on, but like they always say that marijuana and alcohol is the gateway, because you literally start, nobody starts, and a lot of people used to tell me this back in the day, if you ask someone that smokes crack, they didn't just start by smoking crack. You know what I'm saying?
They built up to it.
Right. And it usually happens like that. Your friends smoking weed, or me, I started smoking weed with my uncle. You know what I mean? So it's just always around, especially, our background, we minorities, people smoke, they drink. That's just how we feel like we can put the problems on hold, I feel. But it's not really, your problems are still going to be there at the end of the day.
Or whatever you see the people that you love doing in your mind. So if you see your people smoking cigarettes growing up, then your mind says it must be okay because I see my people doing it. If you see your people smoking weed and drinking, growing up, then you tell yourself. But then when it gets into other stuff, like the crack and the cocaine and all that stuff, it's kind of a buildup. But some of this other, the small stuff like the cigarettes, the weed, the drinking, I saw that growing up.
So it was normal. It becomes normal.
Yeah, it becomes normal, and I went to social parties with family where people played cards. Some people were drinking alcoholically, other people were just drinking socially. Everybody's body's different, and I'm one of those people that my body processes out drugs and alcohol different than other people. So when I do it, I can't stop. Other people can just do a little coke on the weekends and stop drink on the weekends. I'm not one of those people.
So it's safe to say that you have an addictive personality, pretty much.
Yeah, I got the disease of alcohol and addiction, which means that, I have an allergy, and anytime I do put a mind-altering substance in my body wants more. That's why they say one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. But the bigger problem is I have a spiritual malady that causes me to be restless, irritable, and discontent. So I'm very uncomfortable in my own skin, and I'm very uncomfortable with sitting with myself.
Got you.
So the spiritual malady is kind of like an outer reach for inner peace. So girls can help. Social media can help. Drugs can help. Alcohol can help. Clothes, working a lot of hours. Anything that can get me from outside of myself or from sitting with myself, I can want to do that addictively.
Damn, that's deep right there. You spitting some knowledge, man. I ain't even gonna lie. I gotta drop off of that. That's crazy.
I be dropping bombs like Minister Farrakhan.
I love it.
Farrakhan's my uncle by marriage too.
Wait, hold on. We can't just skip over that. So wait, Minister Farrakhan. Let's address him right.
Yeah, if you go on my,
you're related.
So my mother's married to Farrakhan's nephew. So I have personalized messages on my Instagram. If you go down my Instagram, you'll see the messages from Farrakhan. Yeah.
Oh, and I want to give you a huge thank you, by the way, for sending me these lovely motivational messages, man. It always keeps me, every time I look up, because now I'm reading the Bible every day on the app, and I always read that too. So it goes hand in hand. You know, it gives me like that motivation. So do you get like a lot of inspiration from, is it safe to say, from Minister Farrakhan or?
So in 1997, when I was upstate on my second state bid, shout out to the Nation of Guards and Nurse, the Nation of Islam.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. They we would go and watch the minister because they was classifying STG and the Nation of Guards and Nurse as a gang.
Gotcha.
So we had to come and build with the brothers from the Nation of Islam that was identified as a religion,
right?
And we could come together. So I used to go up there and watch the videos, and very inspired.
Yeah.
Farrakhan takes pimps and turns them into prince, turns niggas, turns them into gods, takes dope heads and crackheads and turns them into fathers.
Yeah.
So, the message, what I'm saying, and the message that he delivers, if you can apply that message to your life. And then from there, I started building with the Nation of Gods and Earth. We're cousins with the Nation of Islam.
Gotcha.
But there's a little bit of difference. But we memorize 120 questions and answers. Yeah. Then there's 36 keys, the 10 supreme mathematics, and the 26th letter in the alphabet.
That's so crazy. I got the book Knowledge of a Black Man. I don't know if you know, but it's a supreme something like that. And I was reading a little bit. And it was a little confusing to me. But it's dope. I get into all that. So that shit's deep. Not for none, a lot of the beginning of hip hop, they were very heavy invested into that stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So if you know, you know. You know what I mean? So have you met Minister Farrakhan? We gotta just speculate on this. That's fire. That's fire.
I was just running a class for his daughter. They had a recovery facility in Arizona, and I used to run it on Zoom every Sunday for his daughter. I think his daughter's. It was Maria, and I used to run it. They had a recovery center, and I would get on Zoom every other Sunday and run the classes.
Dope. Yo, not for nothing. That's one of my goals, to get like, leaders of that nature, like to one day just sit down with them and talk. You know what I mean? So that's very inspiring, right?
Yeah, when you're in his presence, you definitely know. It's
you feel it, right?
Yeah. Plus with all the security, like
he ain't playing. He's coming through like Malcolm X, or some shit like that. Yeah, that's fine.
But but I'll show you. So I got some.
Yeah, I gotta see. We gotta dive into that because I've been reading a lot. I've been going through. I'm Puerto Rican, so growing up, we were just hand in hand. All my brothers, we just grew up. It was all blacks, Puerto Ricans. So we just, we stuck together. You know what I mean? It was just a different time coming up. You know what I'm saying? So, but now it's different. So now I don't want to go too far in. I know that you dealt with substance abuse. So you started with the marijuana, right? How long did that take from going for the marijuana and then you started indulging more or less and experimenting with other things? Like more or less, how old were you then?
So before the marijuana, my first 3 addictions were validation, approval, and acceptance. Sugar.
Got you.
And then it went from the marijuana, and I probably say, so I was hanging out with, I don't want to put his name out there, we'll say
All right, you got
I was hanging out, I had a girlfriend, her name was M, we'll say.
Right.
And M had an older sister.
Yeah.
And her older sister had a boyfriend, and they were doing cocaine and stuff like that. They were like 5 years older. When you're older is not a big difference.
Yeah.
But when you're like 18, 14, and someone's 5 years older, they can introduce you to some things.
A lot of shit.
Yeah. And so, I got into, first it was the cocaine, and I fell in love instantly. And then it was a few pills. Yeah. And it stayed with basically the cocaine for a while. But I was always a hustler first. And really what happened was whatever I sold, I ended up doing. So I got into the weed. I was selling the weed. Then I got into the rest in peace L Hood.
Rest in peace.
I was wrestling with L Hood, and back in the day, BB, if you know, I don't want to throw his name out there, but he was the man, and everybody was selling. You could make some good money off of selling weed back in the day.
People were buying homes and shit off all the time.
But it put me in a position where I could buy some nice things on the external, present as Gucci on the outside, but I was really came out on the inside, and that's why I was doing the drugs, because I didn't really feel good about who I was, how I looked. Low self-esteem.
You felt empty pretty much, right?
Yeah, I felt empty, and what happened was the drink and the drugs made me feel whole. So I was able to get high for free, but the whole time I was really an addict, but because I was selling it at a high volume, it kind of masked the fact that I had an addiction.
And then they say like that's one of the steps. Realizing that you have a problem, right?
Yes.
They always say that that's the first step.
Yeah.
And it starts with that. So more or less, when did you realize you start doing the cocaine? When did you realize that you had enough? That you was like on the wrong path, and it's like that moment of clarity that you're like, do I want to continue doing this for the rest of my life, or do I want to make a change? When did you realize that?
After doing being in 131 detox days.
Wow.
8 holdings. That's probably about 20 different facilities, but in and out detox 131 times. 8 holdings, 4 halfway houses, 7 overdoses, 15 years over the course of 4 state business state.
Hold on, 7 overdoses?
Yeah, so I've overdosed 7 times. And 1 minute out. One time I was dead for I was on the other side. You seen
Jesus type thing, more or less. Like you seen.
I don't know about that,
but you was like literally.
But
in a coma?
I was it. So it's like you get 7 minutes of brain activity,
right?
When you pass away, and so your light flashes in front of you, and it was flashing in front of me, and then I was back in the ambulance.
Wow.
And then the EMT was like, "Welcome back."
You got a purpose in life. Definitely got like God's watching over you. You could say, and you definitely got a guardian angel, because that's like. Most people, they overdose once, and that's it. It's done.
I thought it was a punishment, but I actually, the shirt that I got for y'all was planted in my pain to find my purpose.
Let me see that shirt, man. We got to see the shot. Appreciate that. Hey, we like gifts over here, man. We got to promote that.
It's from pain to purpose.
That's fire.
And then on the back, it has the MBM.
Oh, that is so fire. Let me see. Let me hold that up.
Screen.
Where can people purchase? Can people get a shirt? And do you have like different colors?
Yeah, we got different colors. I got different saying: gratitude, gangster, 12-step gangster, real people, heal people, from pain to purpose. I got hoodies, t-shirts. There's long sleeves. There's different stuff up there. I got a new one that says I went from medication to meditation.
I like it.
I've been meditating every day, even if it's just for 1 minute for 3 years now, and I run a meditation. I co-run it now. Some of the alumni from my job run it with me. Every morning at 6 a.m. we meditate on Zoom, except for Saturdays.
See, now I got to start joining you in on that, because that's the next step for me. But I'm going to be honest. We're all about promotion also.
Yeah.
I got to get your story, because I want people to know the ins and outs. But we're all about promotion too. So we got to promote whatever you got going on. We're going to promote everything as well. So we got to promote your brand, get you,
Yeah.
All right, so then the overdose. You said that last overdose, right?
So that the overdose was real, but the moment of clarity for me was after, like, back in the day when I was younger, I used to be able to bail out on $10,000, $15,000. I think I made a $20,000 bail one time. And at 44 years old, I picked up a case, and on Mass Ave, my grandmother had just passed away, and I'm my mother's only child, and my grandmother always had my back. And I went to Nashua Street, and my bail was $300. And I couldn't even get out on $300.
Wow.
So I got my bedroll. I think I'm in, like, I don't know, 4.2, not 4.2. It was baby blue. I can't remember the color.
Yeah.
I always go there sick, so it's a bad experience for me. This is both, now they give out methadone and Suboxone.
Well, you have like withdrawals and all that, right?
Yeah, so I'm withdrawing. So I'm walking upstairs to my unit, and this young dude was like, "Yo, what up, OG?" And I looked at him, and I was like, "OG." And that's when I got the moment of clarity. I looked in the mirror. I seen how much older I looked, how sick I looked. And then it dawned on me, it was like, wow, when you first got arrested, you were 17.
Wow.
Now you're 44. And I wasn't OG. And that was a moment of clarity. And I begged and pleaded with my moms to come bail me out. When you're running Mass Ave, I was out there for 3 years. There's not a lot of people that are going to come get you on $300 bail. I usually, have some good shorties in my life that can always hold me down. And the woman I was associated with at that time. So that sitting in that. So
everybody left you out to dry at that moment, right?
Because it was to the point where my mother was on her way to come and get me, and her girlfriend called her and said, if you get your son,
I'm done with you.
You're not only going to be burying your mother, but you're going to bury him next.
Wow.
So my mother came up. She put like $150 on my book. Said, get the stuff you need, your canteen, your flip-flops, your lotion, all that type of stuff. Get you some razors.
Some ramens.
Get you some ramens, but you're not coming home. And then I got 52A back to Concord. So I'd like to tell you that I still stay clean, but I did not. I ended up getting out.
Again?
Not because I had the bracelet. Not because I came up with the 300, but they let me out on the bracelet.
Yeah, but that was one of my questions too. So then you said you get out after that, even though you had the moment of clarity, and then you ended up relapsing again, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah.
Went right back to
it.
So Mass Ave, for a lot of people that don't know out there, is that where the movie Blue Hill Avenue was based out of?
Blue Hill Ave is different. There's right now there's a video out. If you go to Tommy G Methadone Mile, it has over 1 million views.
Shout out to Tommy G. I checked that out. That's exactly how I came across you and Exit Fame.
Yeah, so
shout out to
Exit Fame. Yeah, Exit on there. So I'm on there. Tommy G came through there, but that's a little bit different. Mass Ave is like the Boston version of Skid Row.
Got you. So like the one in LA, like where it's just tents outside and it's just crazy. Gotcha.
So I went down there to get 30 milligrams of methadone in 2013, and I ended up being out there for 3 years, from 2013 to 2016.
Wow. And for those that we want to walk, like, because this is not that we're glorifying it, but people don't know, it's rough when you're on that path, right? Like, you're literally living every day to get your next fix, no?
Yeah.
And you do whatever you got to do, whether it's robbing, whatever, you know what I mean? It's just doing the grimiest shit because you need that fix.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you stand for your own family.
It gets harder because I'm a habitual criminal now. So if I get caught stealing a loaf of bread, I go to jail not just for the crime, then I have to fight the habitual too. Wow. So that was a moment of clarity too. I had an added case. Anybody else would have probably got drug court. Right. And they wanted to give me a 10 to 12 for 4 grams of dope and 1 gram of dope and 4 grams of crack. They wanted to give me a 10 to 12, which isn't a killer amount of time. But at 45 years old, a 10 to 12 will hold you.
You're literally going to be almost on your senior citizen route after that.
Exactly.
10 to 12, for those out there watching, that's like 10 to 12 years.
You know what I mean? I would have probably did like 9.
Yeah.
I'd still be. This was in 2016, so I would just be getting ready to like come home now.
Wow, that's insane.
So,
so you had the relapse, but like there has to be a point that you reach. Am I not correct? Like, what was that point exactly? Like, when did you say, yo, I'm going cold turkey? Or did you even go cold turkey? Or was it a process?
So, I got a song that says, prison saved me. No, drugs played me. And so prison actually saved me. So in 2016, that case that I picked up when I got locked up on a $300 bail, I copped out to 2 years, but this was the first time that I never had a mandatory. Every other time I went to jail, I had a mandatory sentence.
So like you'll get like a slap on the wrist, what you saying? Or also this time was the one you didn't have the mandatory?
Yeah, I didn't have a mandatory, so I could earn good time. So,
got you.
So
okay.
Because my first bid was a sawed-off shotgun that was mandatory, 3 to 5.
Right.
My second bid was 114 grams. My third bid was trafficking again. So it was, because I get money. Don't get it twisted.
You was out here.
I be talking this positive stuff. I get money. I know how to transport. You know what I mean? I get money. You know what I'm saying?
That's great. I believe it. I believe it.
I done been a fence. I done sold drugs. I done sold guns. I done sold dope. And coming from the bridge, you know what I mean? I got access to go anywhere because I don't have a lot of that beef that other dudes have from being from certain blocks. So I can really get to the bag because I can go everywhere and kind of do everything. My best time ever was Mission Hill, Summer 94.
Yeah, what was that like?
That was like something.
The 90s was wild,
the 90s
right?
was the joint, man. If you didn't grow up in the 90s, you missed out, man.
See, I was a little kid in the 90s, but I was outside too.
But there was before cameras.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Facts.
Back in the day, you could walk around with like 1,050 20s bagged up. You could have a pound of weed all bagged up in your pants, and the police didn't. That's before they were doing all this stuff.
People used to boof it in the city too.
Yeah.
It was all on that time too. Put in their Timbs.
Yeah. I used to go to Uptown and cop and
that's crazy.
Yeah, matter of fact, one of the last cases I had, I picked up a case in Corona, Queens.
That's where I'm from. That's crazy.
Corona, Queens.
Bro.
I went under the Brunswick Expressway.
Yeah,
they don't do fingerprint. They give you the eyeball test out there.
Yeah.
And I had to go from cell to cell to cell.
Yeah, that's wild. So you probably was in the 110 precinct. Either the 110 or the 115.
It was under the highway. It was right in Corona, Queens. I was going to cop, and then they caught me. I had the paraphernalia on me, and that was a blessing because if they would have waited for me to come out, I'd probably be doing a lot of time in New York right now.
Jeez, yo, like God literally saved you a bunch of times. You know,
I ain't gonna act like I was balling.
Yeah,
it went from going out to the city, getting 22 ounces of coke, coming back, 30, flipping on all that. In the end, I was going out there as a tester.
Yeah.
And the Dominicans used to hate to see me coming because they'd be like, damn, because I was, so people would bring me, my cousin would bring me to the city with him.
Yeah.
And I'd be the tester and be able to tell them what was fire and stuff. And I was getting a little bit of money, but in the end, I went from being a Nino Brown to a Pookie.
That's wow. That's a crazy analogy right there. And it could flip like that. It's crazy. That's wow. So now, all right. So this is, you get out the last bit that you had, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Did you end up going to another detox from there? Or?
Nah. So I went upstate. They gave me 2 years. I did 19 months. When I got upstate, I had nothing. I came in with a package. Nobody told me that when you get to Walpole, they give you a drug test. Oh, boy. And then if you get a dirty drug test, that you get dry tanked. And a dry tank means they put you in a cell with no flushing water. So whatever you got on you is going to end up in that thing. But I ended up getting through. I ain't going to say how I did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, put us on. We want to know. Nah. You on the right path.
But it was nasty what I had to do.
You can't give us the game. Well, for those out there.
Listen here, man. I ain't trying to have a little dirt situation happen to me. You know what I mean? I don't know who's
I like that. You smart. You feel like
yeah. So at the end of the day, I ended up getting through. The IPS was like, yo, we know you had something. We're going to let you in the population. If you get caught selling anything, boom, boom, boom.
Another chance.
Yeah.
You were getting mad chances, bro.
So, and I ain't never told. I handle all my cases. Facts. I can go in any system. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's just not my, some people, that's their culture. I know that's more of a culture.
Snitching
now.
is a cool thing now. It's not cool coming from where we from.
You do the crime, man, you got to do the time. And I've always held my own. And that's part of the reason why I got out, because as you get older, the bids get bigger and bigger, and now you start losing your moms while you're bidding. Babies' mothers ain't holding you down like that. You ain't the flyest thing since French toast anymore. So, what I mean? You don't have everybody, all these girls. Lonely. Yeah, so the bids get a little bit lonely. You know what I mean? The mailman starts walking by your cell. Before you used to get all these letters and stuff. And so, to be honest with you, when I got to jail this time, I didn't have nothing. Right. And I told my mother, I said, Ma, I need to go back into your womb. I can't go back in physically, but I said, I need to go back into your womb mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And she said, I got you. And I made a contract with her. I said, Ma, I'm not going to have a shorty. Because normally what I do, I got the gift of gab. I can talk a dog off a meat wagon.
Hey, yo.
I can sell Jordans to Mike. I can sell fire to a fire station. Jeez. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Yo, you too smooth.
You feel me?
I like that.
So I was like, yo, normally I can have a girl come up and hold me down for my bid. But, the earth rotates from right to left. So what you put out in the front eventually hits you in the back.
Yeah, like karma.
And so I told my mom, just hold me down. And can you just send me, $20 a week? And it's a little humble thing just to hold me down so I don't have to manipulate nobody. And she said that I got you. You know what I mean?
She came through.
She held me down. And then while I was in there, I started a store. And so a store hustling. So if you were buying drugs, you had to pay me back double. Yeah. If you were eating, just give me back what I gave you in 25 cents. And that was my way then to try to show brothers that they could do something different. I started in there, and then I just carried it out. I started meditating, and really what changed my life is my man Jeezy from Brockton.
Yeah.
He was doing, it was either 2 naturals or 3 natural life sentences.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, we used to be playing poker. I said, yo, Jeezy, how you so happy?
You never getting out.
And you never getting out. And he said, yo, come to the yard tomorrow. And we went out there, man, and we started doing yoga and doing the breath work. And that was my experience. Like that turned into kind of a spiritual experience for me. And to be honest with you, that taught me how to be uncomfortable. To feel comfortable in my own skin, because my whole life, man, I've been a follower.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because you were looking for validation more.
Validation.
Right?
So when you're doing yoga in front of all these dudes in a state prison, you know what I mean? But dudes used to be over there giggling, and I said, "You're over here, you know, talking about being a killer. I'm over here doing yoga with real killers." You know
That's
what I mean? My man Jeezy was the goon, so you know what I mean. So yeah, so
you can clown all you want.
Yeah,
you know
you can clown, but yo, he introduced me to that. Shout out to Jeezy. And matter of fact,
to him.
I gotta get his government man and send him a couple $, man.
Send him a card or something too.
Yeah, because that whole thing right there, that experience was a transformative and kind of like a spiritual experience for me, and really got the train going in the right direction. I wouldn't be sitting here now.
I like that.
You know
I like that. So you basically at the end, there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
No, you could say if you want to make the change, correct? Because all starts with you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now, how do you feel right now? Like we talked about all the crazy shit you did, everything you went through. How do you feel right now, being completely sober? And do you look back like, wow, I could have very easily, like you said before, been dead or still in jail? Yeah.
So a lot of times, you know, dudes in the street try to make fun of people that get high and say that we're fiends and stuff, but we're really gangsters. Because I ain't scared to die. I don't know that there's fentanyl in that. A gang member's carrying a gun trying to protect themselves because they're scared to die.
Yeah, right? And they don't fight either. Yeah, can't fight when they go to jail.
That's another whole story. You gotta check your guns at the joint jail.
People know how to fight.
But you know, I brought that up to sit there and say, like, to now, after everything I've been through and the overdoses and the crazy stuff that I would do to get the drugs, it's very surreal to be able to wake up every morning and be able to make a decision and not have to, like, to me, healing is gangster.
Yeah.
Transformation is gangster. Self-reflection is gangster. Being a full-time father is gangster. Right? Waking up at 5 a.m. and doing step work with people that got the same disease as me is gangster. Word. Running a meditation at 6 o'clock in the morning is gangster. Because the bulk of the people that I was upstate with that pulled the trigger all regret it and wish they could do something different. And the thing about it is, once you're incarcerated, man, people forget about you within 18 months. And normally within 2 years, your baby's mother's with your boy or messing with somebody else. You
that's
know what I'm
a
saying?
fact, bro.
Yeah, so,
daddy. But that's a fact.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? It's for me, like how I'm living today is just I write a gratitude list every single day. You know, the first letter in gratitude is G and the last one is E because it keeps God first and the ego last. You know what I'm saying?
You giving us some crazy fucking. I love you spitting game like a motherfucker. This gonna inspire a lot of people out there, man.
Well, that's what an OG is. I'm not an OG. I'm OG because not only do I offer game, but I also offer guidance.
That's a
because the last 2 letters in the word game spell me. So my whole life I was in the street game, but who paid the price? Me.
At the end,
I was in the drug game, but who paid the price? Me. I was in the baby mama and manipulating women and having mad different shorties, but who was paying all the child support? Me. Feel me?
It's like a last laugh type of thing. Who gets the last laugh at you?
Yeah, you could run game in the moment, but at the end of the day, the game's always been on me. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. I like that. So, who inspired you now? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're also like a counselor pretty much now, right? So who inspired you to get into that journey, like to help others?
Shout out to Kathy Curley.
Shout outs to her.
Yeah, because I'm usually you know, we didn't. My story's big. It's kind of big. My story could be like 7 podcasts.
Yeah, I feel like we could go for 5 hours.
Yeah. But the short version, my father's been a millionaire 3 times. My real father owned a big construction company.
Right.
I was in the laborers union for my whole life, but the laborers union kept me sick because I could always get back on my feet real quick, and I never had the pain of what I had to go through. And shout out to my man Fresh.
Shout out to him.
Yep. I used to always work for Fresh under the table when I'd be caught up in the grips of addiction. And so I was doing that when I came home. I was working for Fresh, and I was waiting for the union to call me back. And Kathy Curley over at the Divine Recovery Center. Shout out to her. She
looked out.
Yo, she said to me, yo, do you want to get a job in the recovery field?
You're like,
and I was like, for how much? And she was like $12.89 an hour.
And you're like,
and I was like, do you know who I am?
Yeah, you know how much money I was getting on these streets.
but you know what? It's
that's what you were saying.
Yeah. It's spiritually rich for me.
Yeah.
Over financially rich because Prince overdosed with 200 million. Michael Jackson overdosed with 200 million. Robin Williams hung himself worth $200 million. Whitney Houston was worth $20 million. So there's no amount of money that's ever going to make me feel complete. But when I help others, when I give back to others,
Priceless.
yo, that's when I can go to bed. Like both of us right now, we got our daughters in the other room.
That's wild.
Yo,
dude.
that's way
a dope
better.
feeling.
Yo, me being a full-time father is way better than me getting through Connecticut and all that stuff and coming back with 9 ounces or 18 ounces and then bagging it up. You know what I'm saying?
Talk to him.
Yo,
Talk
feel
to
me?
him.
Yo, me having the pistol or whatever and getting back to the crib without getting shot, whatever. All that stuff that I did in the street, nothing compares now to me being able to pick up the phone and have a real good conversation with my moms. Because my mother said to me, before I go to the grave, can you please just let me see you take care of your kids?
Wow, that's deep.
You know what I'm saying? She said, I don't need you to graduate from Harvard University.
Yeah.
I don't need you to hit the winning shot in Game 7 of the Celtics game.
Yeah.
I don't need you to catch a winning touchdown from Tom Brady. All I'm asking you to do is let me know that I can go to my grave and you can take care of yourself, your kids, and your family. And so, you know, after all my mother did for me, yo, that's the least I can do.
You owe her that.
I owe her
you know
that.
what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Exactly.
the least you can do.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's a really good fit. And then like you just said to me, man, I get to you know, our whole connection right now is all based off of energy. Yo, we didn't pass a blunt and connect. You didn't get my number and I told you I got it for the low 18, 20 a gram, right? We didn't connect because I told you I can get hammers or anything like that. Yo, we just connected off of good energy.
Good energy.
And then now look, we're here. I'm in Providence, drove out here.
It's so I want to speculate on this. So I actually met Mathematics. I thought you was a bodyguard for Exit Fame. It's so crazy. And I'm like, are you his bodyguard or manager? And he was like, nah, I'm you know, then we start chopping it up, whatever. But then I had to go back because I don't know if I told you that night, I watched the Tommy G episode maybe 2-3 nights before I did that event, which shout outs to Miss Rhodey. It was at Motion Nightclub. It was a vibe. Yeah. And that night, you know, there was mad weed smoke. Everybody was drinking, bro. I was on the same tip. I was focused. And I was like, I think everything connects for a reason is what I'm trying to get to. And out of everyone there, even though you were like pretty much like in and out of the building on a short time, we connected. Like it felt like I met you before. Like, you know, we just had that connection where it's like, I could relate and we could relate, and it was a dope connection. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, yo, this is crazy. So when I circle back, I go back to the interview, and then I see, I'm like, that's homeboy. Like, you know what I mean? It just all made sense. Yo, that's crazy. Like, it just, I feel like life is like that sometimes, you know? Because sometimes, like, as far as me, you know, I'll give you a brief little story about myself too, which I've said plenty of times, but I was addicted heavily to ecstasy. You know, ecstasy it has every drug in it, heroin, coke, all types of shit. And there was a time in my life, the same thing, a lot of my family members, you know, because I thought it was a cool thing. And this was before like popping pills was cool and hip hop and all that. But a lot of my family members like, yo, you're going to die, bro. Like if you keep going the way you're going, bro, I will wake up in the morning. I'm talking about 8-9 o'clock, buy a bottle of vodka, and I drink like hard vodka. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about the cheap $10 vodka. You get like 2 liters of that shit, and I'll drink that like a whole bottle, pop like 2 pills, no water, just sitting there all day, just rolling. You know what I mean? And people are like, yo, you're bugging. So you know, long story short, when I connect and I told you briefly my story and stuff over the phone, but like, I just feel like everything in life happens for a reason. I'm big on that. And like you said, it's just the way we connect and it's fucking wild. You know what I mean? And it's inspiring, if anything.
The fact that so the thing with you is you treated me no different. And you know, Exit Fame's popping right now. So when I go into spaces with Exit, he gets a lot of the attention, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's all good, yo. You know what I mean?
It's all love. It's all love.
It's my man. Like each one teach one makes a better someone. You know what I mean? So if he blows before me, right, he takes me with him. If I blow before him, then I take him with me. But the way that you treated everybody that night, you treated everybody like they were Papoose.
Equally.
I felt like Papoose that night. You treated the rapper that might not be that good and only got 24 views on YouTube like Papoose. You treated everybody in the building that night like they were Papoose. And that's why when you asked me today, are you coming? Yes, I'm coming. Not because you had anything for me, but the fact that you treated me with love, respect, kindness, and honor. That's why I drove out here tonight and said I'm gonna return the favor, because you treated me like a king, man, and you didn't even know me. You know what
Absolutely. I mean? And that's what I always tell people, like even people that I know that see me doing this right now, they be like, why you have certain guests on your show? They're not even popping like that. But I feel like everyone deserves a shot, number one. And I'm gonna be real, there's certain people that I'll meet, they'll have like so many followers, and then I'm so excited to do the interview. And this is like an exclusive I'm giving, and then it doesn't even go like, I've had people that have no followers, you know what I mean? And their story's amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you just never know, man. People got different, I feed off energy, just like you. And I could tell it's the same, thing. But like, you never know someone's story, what they've been through. They might not be popping, or popular or none of that stuff, but they got a dope story. And that's what I'm trying to get.
Yes.
The dopest stories that people could listen to and they're like, wow, that touched me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's basically what I'm aiming for. You know what I mean?
And that's what being dope is. Daily offering people encouragement.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be dope, you have to daily offer people encouragement. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, man, it's just, my life today, man, is really just based off of like, how can I improve? It's always about progress. You know what I'm saying? My ego wants to do everything perfect. But it's
impossible sometimes.
Only thing I have to do perfect is not pick up a mind-altering substance, but everything else in my life is progress. You know what I'm saying?
I want to keep going on the story, not to cut you off. So now you start helping others, right? You take the job, $12.89, right? Yep. They start you at. What happens after that?
So then I went to, I started working at the detox, and what happened is, like, all the people that I was ever incarcerated with, all the people I used to get high with, I ran Mass Ave with, they would come into the facility and be like, yo, Mav, you're working in recovery and stuff? And I'd be like, yeah. And then I start all the respect that I look for in the streets by selling the drugs, by having all the different girls, all the money I spent on like nice clothes because I wanted the attention and the approval. I got all of that from doing the right thing.
And helping others.
And helping other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then so kind of what happened is I became a RS, then I became a case manager, then I went back to school.
Yeah.
And then I got an opportunity to go work at Bedrock Recovery Centers.
Nice.
And that's where I'm working at now. And then after being there and being a habitual criminal, I got the opportunity to go work in a prison. Wow. So I just worked in a prison for 2 years as a recovery coach. Yo, I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, the dude was like, yo, we need you in here. Wow. And I would go into the units. I have my own program called Recovery Navigation.
That's dope.
Yeah, I'm functioning off a high school diploma from 1989, and I ended up going and getting my late act 2, my licensed alcohol drug counselor.
That's dope. Yeah. Shout out to you, man. That's definitely an accomplishment. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, like, so I got a couple questions about the whole process.
Go ahead.
Being that that's your profession now. How do you help clients identify their own reasons for change?
So, you have to sit there and let them know what the problem is. And then this is a chronic illness. And for every chronic illness, there's certain medicine, and this chronic illness isn't going anywhere. So this is really like recovery is a suggestive program. And normally if the consequences start to get severe enough, that's when you know that there's an actual problem. And so
gotcha.
Pain is the father of change. If there is no pain, there is no change. If you want to lose weight, you got to go through the pain of staying away from your favorite foods. If you want to look good, you got to go through the pain of the gym. Yeah. If you want to run a marathon, you got to go through the pain of like jogging, 5 miles a day. So really it's just, all I do is try to run my groups in a way. And then I try to tell people, do your best to identify and not compare. But most alcoholics and addicts or people that have gone through some stuff in life, they're going to have to hit some type of rock bottom before they're willing to make a change. And for me, it took me 32 years before I finally hit my rock bottom. Wow. And rock bottom's just not like financial. There's mental, spiritual, and emotional rock bottoms too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's different classifications pretty much.
So, it's just, if the consequences are there, if you don't have a relationship with your kids, if your job's on the line, if you're compromising your health, and you've tried every possible way to do a mind-altering substance and you're not able to do it in safety, then that probably means that we need to take some action.
I got you. Now, what's the initial assessment and the intake? What does it involve, more or less?
So someone would call the facility. They would let them know how much drugs they're using a day or how much they're drinking a day. you know, how it's affecting them, different things like that. Right. And then, you know, based off of how much intake of what you're doing comes in, then you'd have to get detox. And then they have like Suboxone, they have methadone, they have Ativan, they have different drugs, you know, for alcoholics.
That's to slowly get them off completely.
Yeah,
right?
Because you can detox. You might feel like you're gonna die coming off of fentanyl. You might feel like you're gonna die coming off of heroin, but you're not. But you can die coming off of benzos and alcohol. You can go into a seizure, and then it can cause you to die. So that's why you really have to detox first. It's really a threefold thing. Yeah. Detox is for the body. Then next door residential, or like CSS or TSS, that's for the mind, for the emotions to stabilize. Yep. And then like halfway house or PHP, what they call it, that's where you get your spirit back. You start doing spiritual things. Right. No, I'm born with a spirit, but I was taught religion.
I like
you that. You feel me? So I have to start. Yeah, you feel me?
I like.
So I have to do. You know, start adding these spiritual principles to my life. And when you start living by spiritual principles, that's how you build your self-esteem.
What strategies do you recommend for managing triggers and cravings?
I mean, if you win the morning, you win the day, right? If you win the night, you wake up right. Yeah. So winning the night means, what am I going to do for myself to be grounded? And sleep discipline builds character. Right. Sleep discipline is how you win the morning. And then if you win the morning, you win the day, meaning like my meditation, the affirmations that I send to you, the gratitude list, the prayer, the meditation, the reading of a book. 10 books out of a book a day keeps the mental ignorance away.
Well, like they say, if you start your day on a negative note, right, your whole day's already blown.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
so it's all about that. I'm big on that now. Well, I'm learning that the positive affirmation is a big thing.
Yes, and for some people, they might have to go to long-term treatment, or they're going to be triggered by old neighborhoods, baby mamas, girlfriends, or because a lot
of my questions too.
Yeah, a lot of
family and friends. What are they rolling?
I mean, a lot of your friends are going to try to, get you high before they get you clean. You know what I mean? Right. Because once you get clean and sober, the people you were hanging out with, then they start to feel like, oh, you think you're all that.
You think you're better than me?
You think you're better than me, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of times, sometimes people, out of ignorance, like my mother didn't know, that she just figured, okay, he's not doing drugs, we can still offer him a beer. But they don't know, once I drink that beer,
it leads
once
back.
I lead, I'm going to go back to the cocaine.
Got you. See, it's good for people to know these things.
Yeah.
Now, how can people contact you if they're looking for help to make the step towards recovery and change?
So they can reach out to me at motivatedbymathematics.com, or they can, and from there you can get on all my social media platforms, or they can reach out to me mathematicsmx@gmail.com. Send me their phone number, and then I'll send them mine back, and then we can connect from there. But there's a lot of people out there that need the help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And a lot of people don't know that there's a solution to this problem.
Exactly.
The last two letters in the word problem. If I flip them,
me
spells me.
Again, back to the me.
Feel me?
Yeah.
So the whole time I was the problem, but the me stands for my mind, my thinking, and my ego's the problem. And I need a solution for that.
I love it.
Feel me?
That's fine, man. Now, aside from helping others, we're gonna move along now. I know you make music.
Yes.
And you're also a motivational speaker. What projects are you currently working on?
So right now, I'm running Class with Math. That's on Wednesday nights in Boston at 200 Bowden Street.
Gotcha.
That's every 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, I seen the flyer for that.
Yeah.
I'll repost it, too, on the screen when we're talking about it.
All right, cool, peace. And then I also do, I have a few projects going on. One of them is called That Part. It's poetry and rap therapy.
Nice.
And it's a short book. But then I have a soundtrack for the book.
Nice. So you're working on the soundtrack right now?
Yeah. So the soundtracks, I'm working on that. Then I'm always like going into the schools. I just went into a prison and did put on a presentation. I go into the schools, put on presentations, and then I get like, sometimes I can put my hands on a grant. And I just put together a project that was called From Prison to Progress.
Nice.
And I took 4 individuals, gave them each their own documentary, a rap video. Yeah. And then what I do, too, a lot of times is I'll put together an event. Like I put together a gratitude fest.
Yeah.
And then I had the artists come. I paid everybody some money for their time. And we all came together and put on a gratitude fest. So there's a lot of different things. And I use I'm always putting together videos or little projects. And I do, one of my biggest things I do every day now, it's called the Jewel of the Day.
I like it.
And then basically under a minute or less.
The shorts, right?
Yeah, the little shorts. Under a minute or less, I give you a jewel a day can keep consequences away, and the jewel a day can keep the mental ignorance away.
I like it.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I seen that you and it's funny you just mentioned like going to the schools and stuff like that. I seen you spoke at Norwood Camp. How did that come about, and will you be traveling like to other places to do other events?
Yeah,
like maybe other states and stuff.
So I've that's what my goal. If there's anybody watching, they can get me into a school. We need to talk.
We're putting in the universe now.
Yeah.
Reach out to my mans right here, man.
So if someone can get me into a school or set something up, I will give you a referral fee for helping me out and set me up to get into these spaces and these places. But yeah, someone introduced me. I've been doing Juneteenth at in Norwood and in a lot of different cities for probably the last 5 years.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, so Norwood has me come in and put on events, and the gentleman that happens to shout out to Jeff.
Shout outs to him.
Yeah, Baguma, Officer Baguma. He's been having me come and. We did Norwood schools this year in front of 800 kids. He's had me come to the camp 3 summers in a row because you really want to get the kids early, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So I got potential with high school kids, college kids, prisoners, adults, the class with math. I even did at a university at Dartmouth are all girls. They put me in there with all girl high school girls, and I went in there and dropped it like it was hot. They were like, yo, they want me to come back this year. So you know what I mean? That's my everybody has a gift. Jordan had a gift to play ball. Yeah. Brady had a gift to throw a football. I got a gift to educate people. I'm a poor righteous teacher. You know what I'm
change
saying?
lives.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Exactly.
You forgetting that. You know what I mean? Like so what is like how do you structure your presentations to keep the audience engaged? Because you had said it, I think you were telling me this before, that the reason why you kind of do the rap thing is more or less because the youth, it seems more relatable, no?
So I do participatory groups where, I might pass out a paper, we might do a little video, and I like to always ask questions, have a group question, and open up the door for Q&A because my ego says they want to hear this, but sometimes it's better to do Q&A so I can tell you what you want to know versus my ego thinking this is what you want to hear. Feel me?
I like that. Yeah.
And then so what happens is with the music, it makes it where if I'm an OG, but when they hear the rap and they see the quality of the video, shout out to my man Bridges. You know what I mean? When they see the quality of the video.
Shout outs to Bridges.
Yeah.
Did he shoot the 10 sober commandments?
Yeah, we shot that in front. We shot that in New York. Right in front of Biggie's house.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were in Brooklyn.
We were in Brooklyn. That was right in front of Biggie's house. That was right on the corner.
Where the dude was doing the pull-ups in the Juicy video too, right? Yeah, I think the whole scenario.
If you go back and watch the video, that's right on Biggie's block.
That's crazy. Rest in peace to Biggie. Greatest of all time. One of my favorite rappers ever.
No doubt.
That's crazy. So all right, so you were saying like with the music and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what happens is when I go into a school and they see the videos and they see the rap. It bridges the gap between me and the kids, and they can sit there because you got to have, you know what I mean? Sometimes they just need to know that you're cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're relatable. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is it just makes me relatable. Right. And then while we're acting cool, I'm gonna be dropping jewels on you just like I'm doing tonight. I'm here being cool with you. But at the end of this podcast, man, I don't give some serious jewels away. Man.
You know sometimes you gotta pay for this shit.
Yeah. They can pay with their attention right now. Though. That's good. I like that. If I help one person, man, I did my job, man.
I like
you know what I mean? Because those 7 times that I overdosed, someone helped me.
Exactly.
And didn't ask for nothing in return. And shout out, I don't know who those people was every time. I don't know who the EMTs were. I don't know who the doctors were. So what I do, I just pay it forward. I'm making living amends. You know what I mean? I'm just going to continue to keep moving forward and helping those that are struggling.
That's fucking deep. Now, what is the most important step someone can take today to start making positive changes in their life, whether it's someone battling with addiction, depression, or even feeling like unfulfilled?
Just ask for help.
That's simple.
Sometimes the greatest prayer and the biggest act of humility that anybody can ever do, ask for help. Can you help me? Because so many people's minds and egos tell them don't ask for help. The person doesn't want to help me. There's 3 essentials to recovery. but there's really 3 essentials to life. And it's honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. So the second and the third and the fourth letter in the word honesty spell 1. I got to be honest with number 1. What do I got to be open-minded to? Suggestions. And then what do I have to be willing to do? To put those suggestions into action.
And make the change.
And make the change. That blueprint can work not just for recovery from alcohol and addiction, but anything in life. You know what I mean?
Dope.
Yeah.
I like that. Now, how do you suggest dealing with setbacks and staying motivated when progress seems slow?
I mean, for like a bamboo tree, you have to water that for 5 years before you see any growth. But then after those 5 years, it becomes one of the strongest trees on the planet. It's 30 feet in the air, and it's very hard to destroy. Damn. So what happens is we're always making progress. If you just make 1% of progress a day over 365 years, 365 days, that's almost like 40% of progress. Right there. 40% of progress is good. Just 1%, 1% every single day. It's good progress. Yeah. But what happens is we start to compare ourselves to others.
Yeah, like, oh, he's doing this, but I'm not doing that.
But you don't know if that person is buying those, if they're paying.
Or it's all false.
Or if it's all false. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what happens is when you get things too quick, you don't pour the concrete. And that's been the story of my life. I know how to get the job. I know how to get the girl. I know how to get the car, but I had no foundation to keep it. Damn. Getting things for a lot of people is easy. Keeping it is hard.
That's the hardest part.
Getting sober is easy. Staying sober is hard.
Very difficult.
Getting out of jail is easy. Staying out of jail is hard.
We go on for days.
Yeah.
Facts.
We could go on for days, man.
Now, can you share a story of a time when your words significantly impacted someone's life? Just a quick story. That is very memorable to you, pretty much.
So, I mean, there's been times when people have called me on the phone and said that they wanted to relapse and they wanted to go back and drink and they wanted to go back and drug. And I just created a picture of like, I love them.
Yeah.
I care for you. And then I created a picture of like, what's going to happen with your kids though?
Damn.
What's going to happen with your moms? What's going to happen with your family? And so I've done that on multiple occasions. But there's also been times where I beat myself up because, you know, I've had people that are close to me pass away. And I didn't say nothing because I didn't want them to think that I thought I was all that.
Yeah.
And you know, should rest in peace to my cousin Cliz.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace to my man Torrin, man. There's been times when I didn't say something because I wanted everybody to say that I was cool. Yeah. And then now it's too late. But, you know, when someone's on the edge and they're not feeling it, you know what I mean? That's when I've done it the most. And the fact that I wake up every morning and send out 240 text messages and ask for nothing in return.
That's wild.
Those are messages that come right from my heart and they take my time. And so I would say that every single day, I put someone in a position to feel whole. And, you know, it ain't easy for me to walk up. Like at the end of this podcast, I'm going to tell you that I love you. You know what I mean?
I love you too,
and
man.
And me and you only met 3 times.
That's the first time I had this moment. This is dope.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, when I sit there and I got clients, I had a client today she's out in California on Skid Row. And I said, Hank, no, you might feel right now you're on Skid Row, no one loves you, but I love you. We're gonna get you back into treatment, man. Just those small words can be inspiring. And sometimes, you know, at my office, at my job, I just tack one up today. I got all these letters from clients. I've had clients' wives text me and say, yo, thank you for giving me my husband back. Thank you for giving my kid's father back. Thank you for giving my children their son back. And it's not, I ain't doing it. All I did was give them the information, and then they work the honesty, the open-mindedness, and willingness to make it happen.
I like that.
Yo, this is gonna be.
Well,
dope
I told you, man.
Bro.
I can't, bro. I wasn't gonna. I never like to waste people's time. That's what I'm saying. And I want to shed light on your story to the fullest. You know. And this, like I said, this is gonna be a memorable one. You know
shout out to anybody, Extra Fame. You got to get out here. Queen Con, you got to get out here. Bridges, you got to get out here. Oh, Stonecatcher, you got to get out here. I got some people for you, man. This was definitely a good experience, man. And you're good peoples, brother.
Now, we're gonna be wrapping up shortly. Yes. What is one key lesson that you've learned from your experiences as a motivational speaker or counselor? Either one.
For me,
one key lesson.
It's always to prepare versus plan. So when you plan something, that's because my ego's saying that I think it's going to turn out this way.
Yeah.
But if I prepare for something, I'm prepared for whatever comes my way, and I can be flexible because I've planned to go into places and I think it's going to go A, B, and C, but it went C, B, A, and I wasn't prepared. And they didn't know the presentation didn't go as good as it, but I did. And I didn't sleep good at night. So I no longer plan, I prepare. And if I'm prepared, whatever comes my way because I prepared, I'm actually ready. And there's nothing more embarrassing than you go somewhere to recite a poem or something like that.
Yeah, you do poetry too.
I do poetry too. And you forget the poem halfway through because you weren't prepared.
You gotta prepare.
You gotta prepare. That's proper preparation always corrects error.
Jeez, you know what I mean? Yo, it's too crazy. Yeah. You need to write a book.
It's coming.
If you get a book out, we're gonna put it right on the table. We're gonna come back, promote the book. Because you need a book, man.
Yeah.
Not for nothing.
When that part project comes out, I want to come back and
absolutely. You're gonna be home base here. You come back whenever you want. Anything you got going on, it's all love on this side. You know what I mean? Yep. We're gonna get into album of the week real quick.
Album of the week on the JMACK Experience Podcast.
Album of the week this week is Cabrini Green by Ransom. You fucks with Ransom?
I'm not sure who that is.
Nah, he's a Jersey rapper. He's dope. Okay. He's been in the game for a while, but he's more like, you could say like underground, but not really. But he's fire. He's done a lot of dope shit. You know what I mean? We're gonna get into movie of the week.
Movie of the week on the JMACK Experience Podcast.
Movie of the week this week is One of Them Days featuring Keke Palmer and SZA. You into movies? Nah, you don't watch movies?
Only time I'm too. When you're trying to be great, there ain't no time.
Ain't no time to be Netflix and chilling.
I'm trying to get people to watch my show. Never mind watch.
They gonna watch it now.
Yeah, you feel me? Yeah. That's just sports. I ain't got time for that.
Oh, but you fucks with the I feel like sports is
fantasy
more time consuming.
I like fantasy. You know what I'm saying? I like my little DraftKings. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to promote that.
But gambling. But we ain't promoting gambling.
But I like sports and stuff like that. But I don't have time. I'm trying to be great.
I like it. It's true. Yo, there's times I don't even have time to post a simple short. I'm like, yo, how did they go so quick? But I'm like so invested in. And it's a must that I go to the gym every day. You know, I've been going to the gym, trying to get right. Like, all that takes time. People don't realize those things is just being a father. You know, I don't want to shortchange my daughter either. You know, so, exactly. She comes first at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, but what's next for Motivated by Mathematics, man? What's next for you?
So, right now, what's going to just be coming up is just being consistent, coming out with that part.
Yeah.
I got the Pain to Purpose workbook.
It's a workbook before the book.
So there's a Pain to Purpose journal.
Oh, okay.
That's halfway done. I'm working on that because I got the TED Talk. I did a TED Talk from Pain to Purpose by Mathematics. I got the website. I get into the schools, but now I need to become a published author. So and then I need to get my my musical. So it's poetry and rap project out there, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people.
I'm all for it, man. I think that's going to be like major for you. I think you really need to be writing books, man. Yeah. Even if you do even books for the youth too. Yeah. And it could be like a series or something. I'm giving you some ideas too, you know what I mean? Because I'm all about marketing and shit like that.
I appreciate
too,
you,
I think you're going to get there. Now, anything else you want to promote that I didn't cover or I might have missed?
Just that, I do the Jewel of the Day every day on YouTube.
What was the Jewel of the Day today?
The Jewel of the Day today was on being silent. And so, it's good that I can come on here and speak, and it's good to have the gift of gab, and it's good to be able to manage people. And the biggest fear on the planet besides death is public speaking, and I can do it. But sometimes it's more priceless and valuable to know when to be silent than it is to know when to speak. And that's what today's Jewel of the Day was.
That's fine. Because sometimes they say, like, you know, they say less is more too.
Yes.
But like sometimes you don't need to engage. Maybe if you give it like a little bit time, like you ever get into like kind of like not an altercation, but like a disagreement with someone, and you feel like if you just keep going back and forth, it's just gonna escalate.
Yes.
It's better just to stay silent.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
yes,
And let it
yes,
steam
yes,
off
yes,
first and come back to it maybe later.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, it's like this saying that people that play chess that take 7 seconds to think about their move win 70% more than people that don't. So in alcohol and addiction and untreated mental health, we react. But in recovery, I become a different thinker. I respond. So in active addiction, you're playing checkers. But in recovery, we're playing chess. You know what I'm saying? So you think your decisions through, and then you get better outcomes. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because I have a disease that's compulsive and impulsive. So all I can do is feel the pleasure and see the pleasure. But now that I work a program, not only do I see the pleasure, but I can also see the consequence. And then I got to think, is it really worth it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Is it really worth it? And you get to play the whole tape. And sometimes I still give in, especially with food. I'm an emotional eater.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying? I'm an emotional.
We have addictive personalities at the end of the day. So
well,
like,
it gets me outside of myself. You know what I mean? It gets me outside of myself.
There's days that I'm like, well, I'm not drinking no more. I'm not smoking anymore. I'm gonna eat mad junk food today. You know what I mean? It's just like, but that's not good either. You know what I mean?
It's not.
You
know what I mean?
It's tough, man. Now, where can we follow you at social media wise once again? And what's your website so people can tap in?
So my website is motivatedbymathematics.com. On Instagram, I'm on Motivated by Mathematics. On TikTok, I'm Motivated by Mathematics. And then on Facebook, on Mathematics MX Grands.
I gotta add you.
Yeah. We definitely got to do that. And and then my email, you can email me through the website too as well.
Email as well. What's the email, the direct email?
mathematicsmx@gmail.com. And the MX stands for Malcolm X.
See, and we talked about it earlier. That's great how I put it out there. I actually got his book. I watched the movie a million times because one of my favorite movies with, and with Denzel. But the book that I have, I just haven't got. I got so many books in the crib. I got to just start trying. It's just the time, like you said. I just don't be having time. It's tough.
He's the reinvent yourself gangster. So my story's similar. He went from Malcolm Little to Detroit Red to Malcolm X to the Malik Al-Shabazz.
Yeah.
I went from Daniel R to Dawu to Divine, and now I come to the people as mathematics. So he reinvented himself 4 times, and then I reinvented myself 4 times as well. And each person, and that's going to be what my book is going to be about. It's going to be 4 parts. Who I was as my government, Daniel R. Who I was at Dawood, Orthodox Islam. Then in 95, 97, when I became Divine in the Nation of Gods and Earth. And then when I reinvented myself in the Nation of Gods and Earth as mathematics in 2016.
Is that an exclusive on the JMACK Experience podcast? Nobody's
exclusive, baby. Exclusive.
I like it. You already know. You know where you heard it first.
You feel me?
I love it. Can we agree that all the experiences that you went through got you to where you are today?
Experience is the best teacher. There is no better experience. And so, they say that your last mistake is your best teacher. So if you're not allowing yourself to make any mistakes, you're not learning. It's just like when our children, when we try to control them and don't allow them to make mistakes, they don't grow. You know what I mean? So it's good to make mistakes. It's never wins and losses. It's always wins and learns. Right? It's only a loss if you keep doing it over and over again, but it's always wins and learns. It's never wins and losses.
That's crazy.
You feel me? Yo, we gotta. Yo, this.
Listen, we have to do another one. We have to do another one.
$1 million. Wallow and Gilly better. Wallow and Gilly better get that. They got some competition, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You feel me?
So that's. I'm honored.
For real, man. This. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This was a good experience.
I appreciate
it. And
I
saw you on my YouTube, doing your homework. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why it's each one teach one.
Absolutely.
Makes a better someone because you've bought the best out of me tonight, and in return, I'm gonna continue to help try to bring the best out of you. Man.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to doing some music with you too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put an exclusive out there for everybody. Since you gave me one, I'm gonna give you one. Everybody that's been on the podcast, I'm gonna be reaching out. If you do music, I'm doing a mixtape. You heard it here first on Mathematics episode. I'm giving an exclusive. Reach out to me. I'll probably reach out to you, but I want everybody that does music. We're doing a mixtape compilation. It's gonna be crazy, and I want to do a song with everybody that's been here and they do music. I'm getting back in my bag. I've been so invested with the podcast, but music is my first passion.
Got you.
I'm gonna keep it 100. So I gotta go back to the music. You know, I want to do both. You know what I mean? But I love doing this. This is not even work for me. Like, I really have a passion for this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, any advice out there for those who might be experiencing the same situations that you went through or are going through right now?
Don't be scared to, one, ask for help, and don't be scared to do something different. You know what I mean? Because a leader creates more leaders, not more followers.
I like it.
And it's easier to fit in than it is to put in the work to stand out. So don't waste your time trying to fit in. Put in the work to stand out, because the number one's an odd number. So if you want to be number one, you got to be doing something odd and different than what everybody else is doing, and you got to do something odd and different than what your old self used to do.
Any last words or special shout outs that you would like to mention?
Special shout out to my daughter Kayla.
Shout outs to her.
Shout out to Summer, my daughter.
Shout outs to that.
Shout out I Love, Justice. Shout outs to Sky's in the other room, Diva. Even though I don't see her often, I still love her. I have one daughter where I haven't been able to connect with, even with 8 years of recovery. You know,
I didn't get to ask. How many kids do you got? If you don't mind me asking.
So I have 6 kids by six different babies.
God
mothers,
bless you, bro.
But I can only put my hands on 5.
God,
you know what I mean. But shout out also Stonecatcher, Exit Fame, Queen Con.
Shout outs to them.
Ella, Meg, Singapore Kane, 5, Dracasso, Bridges. Like, I got a lot of people.
I got Joe Casso coming too.
Yeah. I got a lot of people that do a lot of different stuff. And shout out to all the underdogs and all the people that feel as though that they're not making it and where they want to be. I'm here for the underdogs. I've been an underdog my whole life. If you've made it and you're egotistical about it, I ain't really feeling you.
You ain't rocking with it, right?
I ain't rocking with you. But if you're an underdog and you're giving it all you got, I'm rocking with you. So shout out to all my kids, Justice, Sky, Kayla, Summer, Diva, Xavier, even though I've never met Xavier. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother
It's gonna come around.
Yeah, it's gonna come around. You know, that'll be in the book. They can get that out of the book. They're like, how has he got kids he never met? You'll get that. You'll get that in the book. It's because he was too smooth. Yeah.
I want to thank you once again.
Oh, and I can't forget my mom Dukes.
Oh yeah, we can't forget Mom Dukes. She pretty much the reason.
And rest in peace to my cousin Melanie. She just passed away of cancer.
Oh, sorry.
At 50 years old, man. But she lived a good life, and I'm not gonna mourn the one day that she was gone. I'm gonna celebrate the 50 years that she was here.
Forever.
Peace. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, man. Yo. It was an honor to have you in my presence once again, my brother.
Friendly. Yep.
Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This means a lot to me.
Yes, sir.
Episode 61, Motivated by Mathematics. You already know what it is. We're signing out the JMACK Experience Podcast.
Peace.
Thanks for coming on the JMACK Experience Podcast. Be sure to come on for another episode every single week. Until next time, peace. Black Sheep Sea Moss. It'll make you want to slap your daddy.
Oh, harder, daddy.